Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to stick to Sweden, but we're going to return to Dalarna county up to the northwest of Stockholm, and we're going to revisit one of the more established craft breweries here in Sweden. So we're going to take a look at yet another beer from Oppigårds Bryggeri once again. This one is the Botan Double Ipa, which comes in at 8% ABV. This was released as part of the small partiers on the 26th of April 2019 through Systembolaget here, and this is supposed to be based on the Oppigårds IPA, which was a collaboration that they did with North Brewing Company from England a few months back. You did see me review that one on the channel actually, so very curious to see how this one turns out, because the Oppigårds was a pretty interesting IPA, but this is a brewery who, despite being very well established, they do seem to put out some very interesting experimental beers actually, which is the way I think you really need to do things these days. So very curious to see how this one turns out. Oppigårds, as I say, it's a brewery that I've always quite enjoyed trying things from, so hopefully this is another beer that proves to be a very good one, and I hope you guys enjoy my take on it. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Oppigårds Bryggeri before. No doubt I will add some more to that in the fairly near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Oppigårds Bryggeri then, on to my brewery notes. So as I've told you before, Oppigårds Bryggeri was founded back in 2003 in Hedemora, which is to the northwest of Stockholm, kind of near Borlänge and Falun in Dalarna county in Sweden. But the brewery sits on the 250-year-old Falkenström family farm in a small wooden building which was originally constructed back in 1896. But this space was originally used for flax dressing and also for their great-grandfather's metal smithing business as well. But all of their beers were originally brewed in this old building, but they also added a new malt house later on, and now they actually have a new brewery as well. But the brewery itself was founded back in 2003 by Björn Oppigård to revive the family farm, and he also wanted to revive the kind of traditional Swedish farmhouse ales that used to be very prevalent in Sweden. But this was until, you know, the kind of pilsners, these kind of fizzy pale golden things, really took over the market in the 1800s, and this made the farmhouse ales largely unprofitable, and a lot of the little farmhouse breweries died out. But the brewery's become very popular over the last couple of years, and it's really allowed the Falkenström family to continue to make their living on the farm as they've done since the 1700s. And in their first year they produced only 8,000 litres of beer and sold it very locally, but they've now produced well over 1 million litres of beer, and they have a new Italian brew kit. They had a bit of trouble kind of getting this up and running, of course, but they now have a production capacity of over 2.5 million litres of beer per year, and they're one of the most widely distributed Swedish craft brewers in, you know, at the moment. You know, their beers are all over Sweden, and I think they are actually starting to export their beers to Denmark and to Norway these days too. If you are watching this review from somewhere further abroad and you're able to get the Oppigårds beers, do let me know about that in the description below. But this brewery are one that are seriously starting to look at exports now as well. So it's one, I have to say, you know, if you check out the Turbo IPA, if you want an old school IPA, if you check out the Turbo Stout as well, that's a really nice beer too. And the new Sweden IPA is a very good one as well. But they've got a nice core range of beers. They were one of the breweries that really kind of kicked off the whole craft beer thing in Sweden, if you like. They have been around for a little while, but it's really cool to see that they are still experimenting in the way that they are as well. So yeah, Oppigårds, one of the Swedish breweries that you really have to check out. And if you're watching outside of Sweden, this is one of the breweries that you're more likely to be able to get a hold of their beers. So yeah, I guess that's all you really need to know about the brewery for the moment. If you want to learn a little bit more, of course, you can check out the brewery website in the description below, and of course you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram and things like that as well, and that'll keep you up to date with all the latest goings on at the brewery as well. But yeah, let's get on to the actual tasting section of the video then. So this one, as I mentioned to you at the start of the video, this is an 8% double IPA. It's hopped with Simcoe and Citra, and it has a malt base of Pilsner and light caramel malts with wheat and oats in there as well. So yeah, we can get rid of the brewery notes now, and I can let you have a little look at the artwork on this one before we open it up. So yeah, pretty similar actually in terms of its design to the Norn Pale Ale, which you saw me review a little while ago. Very similar to the Ugo IPA, which you saw me review in Cannes as well. I think it's only been within the last year or so that these beers have been produced in cans. I'm reviewing this beer for you on the 1st of May 2019, of course. But yeah, nicely presented. It says on the side here, "Vi har valt att kalla det här ölet för Botan DIPA efter sjön med samma namn." So we've named this beer after the lake with the same name. This is the closely upstream brewery. Not sure exactly what Ingvarsbenning is, but this beer has a full flavour with a strong aroma and taste of tropical fruit at 8% ABV, richly hopped with Citra and Simcoe. Botan Double IPA is you know, it's a limited edition, basically, they're saying on here as well. But there you can see Björn Oppigårds, Björn Falkeström's name signed on the side there as well, which is really quite cool. But yeah, I really like the artwork on this one. They're quite, I'm guessing they're basing their artwork on the old English roundels that used to get on the rail ales over there. There does seem to be a little bit of an obsession with English beer over here in Sweden, although personally I think the German stuff is a little bit better. But yeah, good beer from Dalarna, and this is a beer born of tradition, as you can see there it says on the little roundel there. But yeah, without further ado then, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting. I've got a feeling that this one should be really kind of interesting. We'll see whether it's a New England or a West Coast IPA. Yeah, New England IPA, this one. So yeah, you kind of could have guessed that from the fact that it has oats in the malt base, of course, but yeah. So for this one then, we'll put it round with the can on its good side, the one that isn't ripped. But yeah, as you can see with this beer, it's poured a nice, bright, hazy, golden yellow colour there. If I hold it up to the light, definitely a yellow. You can see there's a half finger of a frothy white head on this one. I would say it's a pure white head, not even creamy or anything like this. Definitely a pure white head. It's a little bit bumpy towards the top of the head, of course. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head there. If I put my fingers behind the beer, you can see that it is, you know, pretty much completely opaque. There's not really any transparency to this beer, but that's pretty much what you would expect from a New England IPA. As soon as you open up this beer as well, you get these really quite prominent juicy fruity aromas. I mean, we know Simcoe and Citra, they're hops that have been used you know, so widely over the last couple of years. Simcoe's a big passion fruit hop. Citra gives you a lot of mango and some kind of complexities to it as well, and you get that as soon as you open up the can of this beer. You can smell those big tropical fruits jumping out at you. But let's take a closer look at the aroma and just see how we get on with this one then. Yeah, it's really nice, this, actually. I mean, going by the aroma, this is one of these beers that makes me think back to, you know, Narangi from OO Brewing Company, or GBG Beer Week from Stigbergets. It's one of these IPAs that really makes you think. It's a little bit nostalgic, actually, and it's strange to say this about you know, a New England IPA when this is a style that is still relatively new to the market. We're only talking about 2-3 years, but this is a beer, the aroma of this beer really makes you just think back a couple of years, because there's so many hops and malts and things like that coming out these days, yeast strains as well. This beer really is one that the aroma just makes you think about a couple of years ago when you know, this stuff was just coming out. So yeah, straight up out of this one you get the nice passion fruity notes from the Simcoe, you get the mangoes from the Citra, you've got a little bit of a kind of lychee gooseberry note in there from the Citra as well. I think there's a little touch of a lemon limey note. There is a little bit of a lemony sharpness pushing its way out of this beer as well. Yeah, I do want to say a lemon limey note to this one. There is just a little bit of that sharpness in there. But yeah, lovely passion fruity notes. You can feel that just kind of forming the the kind of backbone of the beer, if you like. I really like Simcoe. There's a lot of people kind of using Galaxy instead of Simcoe these days. Galaxy is like Simcoe but with a bit more complexity to it, but the Simcoe really gives you this almost slightly milky, lactosey kind of passion fruit quality to your beers, and it's a little bit nostalgic just to kind of go back to that actually, but for me it really works in these beers. Citra and Simcoe is a pairing that, you know, it's a time-proved pairing. It's one that you can always go back to and really enjoy. But to me, the passion fruity notes in this one, the Simcoe notes that you get out of this beer almost make it smell a little bit like a lactose IPA or a milkshake IPA, I guess you could call it. But yeah, the fruity side of this beer is really, really nice. But underneath that, of course, you get these nice oaty creamy notes. There's definitely a little bit of the wheaty, white bready smoothness in there as well. There's a little touch of a brown sugar note in there as well. I mean, they said they've got light caramel malts in there, so it kind of, the brown sugary note almost comes across as a little bit like a biscuity note, a little bit like McVitie's digestives or something like that. There is definitely a little touch of that brown sugary note in this beer, which is really, really nice, and it just gives the malt base a little bit of that sweetness rather than being kind of completely smooth. But the creamy notes from the oaty quality almost play into that that slightly milkshakey quality that I was talking about with the Citra a minute ago. In terms of the green side of the hops, you know, to me, the green side of the hops in this beer come across as being predominantly grassy rather than floral. There is a little bit of a floral aromaticity to this beer, not too prominent in my opinion. I think it's more leaning towards the grassy side of things. I probably, if I was smelling this beer blind, I would probably guess that it's somewhere along the lines of a milkshake IPA rather than a kind of straight up double IPA. But overall, the aroma is really quite nice actually. I like how everything goes together in this one. So as I always say, take a little bit of time and just enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck in. But we're going to try this one now. So this one is the Botan Double IPA from Oppigårds Bryggeri in Hedemora in Dalarna County, in the just kind of in the middle of Sweden, I guess you could say. It's not too far north. But let's get stuck into this one. One of the other small party releases on the 26th of April 2019. Let's get stuck in. Slange, skål. Yeah. You know, first impression of this beer, you know, for an 8% double IPA, that's ridiculously drinkable. It's very, very smooth in my opinion, and I think it's the Simcoe, to be honest with you, that's giving it that that smoothness. You know, as I say, it's a time and tested hop combination, Citra and Simcoe, but it really just works very well. And I think these, I mean, Oppigårds produced the new Sweden IPA, what, 2 years ago now? And everyone thought, you know, this is an awesome, awesome beer. And the question would have been then, you know, why do you need, you know, do you need to really play with this anymore? But they have, and they've done it pretty damn well, to be honest. I mean, the Norn Pale Ale is really good, the Ugo IPA was an interesting one, and this is even better than both of those, to be honest. I think this is a really nice double IPA. So even though this is a limited edition, one thing I will say about this, if this stays as a limited edition, I think that's a bit of a shame, because while it is difficult to, at the time it was difficult to say that, you know, I struggle to see how Oppigårds will outdo themselves with a new Sweden IPA. I think they have outdone themselves with this one, so, you know, well done to Oppigårds Bryggeri for that. They've produced a really nice IPA here. Yeah, I mean, this goes together really nicely. It's definitely one of the smoother New England IPAs that I've had recently. And one of the things I've always felt you have to watch with this style is, if you go up to around the 8% mark with this, you know, I think that you have to add something like a little bit of caramel or something, just to cover up the booziness of the beer a little bit. That's what they've done. They've put a little bit of light caramel in here, which works really well, because you know, if you don't have a little bit of sweetness in the malt base, if you're relying completely on the oatiness and the wheatiness, the smoothness just to cover that up, I don't think it works quite as well, to be honest. But to me, this is a really nice and very, very smooth New England IPA. It's definitely got that creaminess element of it down to a T, to be honest with you. So let's kind of try and break the flavour of this beer down a little bit then. So straight away, as soon as you take in this beer, you just get that nice, smooth, wheaty, white bready backbone to the beer. That just blankets the middle of your tongue. On top of that, you get the oaty creaminess, and I'm finding that the further and further you go into the aftertaste with this one, the smoother and creamier that gets. In the very centre of your palate, you have a nice, you do have a nice little bit of a kind of biscuity sweetness in there, which works out really quite nicely. I do like the little sweet backbone that this beer has, to be honest with you. And it's a very smooth but very well balanced malt base that this beer has. And if you watched the channel before, you will know that I really value the malt base of a beer. There's so many breweries just do a straight pale malt base and blast the thing with hops or whatever. And to me, that just doesn't do it justice. You've got to find that balance, I think, between the malt base and the hops, because they can both give you so much to the beer. And I think these guys, I think at Oppigårds, they've now got a really solid malt base in there. So I think this will be exciting going forward, actually. But yeah, in terms of the hoppy side of the beer then, this is where it kind of gets interesting. In the back corners of the palate, tiny little bit of earthiness there. I would suspect that's coming more from the Citra than the Simcoe, right enough. But as you come further forward along the sides of the tongue, that smooths out a little bit. You get a little touch of herbal quality in there. But then as you move right towards the very front corners of the palate, there's a little bit of a floral aromaticity in there. It's got almost got a little touch of a kind of slightly spicy note in there, but that's quite minimal actually. It's quite a subtle quality to the beer. But both the Citra and the Simcoe, they do have strong floral components to them, but not so spicy in that regard. But around the very front curve of the palate, you just get that nice, lighter, grassy citrus out of the beer, which works very, very nicely, I have to say. Yeah, and the fruity side of this beer for me is where this one almost kind of shines, actually. I really like how everything goes together in this beer. I mean, this is one of the beers that it doesn't really do anything surprising with the style, but it's just all about how these flavours fit together. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know, trying to be bold and outgoing in things. It will get you so far, but it's more about how the beer is actually crafted, if you like, and I think that's where Oppigårds are really shining in this regard. So on the fruity side of this beer then, as I always say, the fruity side of your beer comes out in that little oily bubble behind the front curve of the tongue. You've got a little bit of a kind of grapefruity note in there. If you go to the very back of that oily bubble behind the front curve of your tongue, you get a little touch of the grapefruit from there. That is the citrus side of the beer coming out. If you go a little bit in front of that, you get the passion fruity notes, and that's your Simcoe. And just in front of that as well is the mango flavour. The mangoes are coming out just more towards the front of the tongue for me. But you also get a little bit of the lychee flavours, and for me this beer has a little touch of an almost limey note to it as well. To me it's lychees and lime that are coming out, and the further you go into the aftertaste, some of the grapefruit is lingering there, the passion fruits and the mangoes are just mixing together a little bit, but the lime and the lychees at the front of the tongue are really what's lingering the further you go into the aftertaste with this one. It's a really nice beer, this one. As I say, it's all about how everything kind of fits together, and it's not doing anything surprising with the style. It's all about just how well crafted this beer is. I think it's fair to say that about this one. And you know, the thing that I'm thinking about this, if you think back to, as I mentioned earlier, the GBG Beer Week, the Narangi, the New Sweden IPA. These are beers that have been around for maybe 2 years or so now, and it's strange to say this about a style that is only 2 or 3 years old, if you like. This is one of these beers that makes you you think back a little bit. This is kind of a nostalgic double IPA. It's only been released, but the Citra Simcoe combination is one that we know that works, and they've taken a solid base of a beer, which I'm guessing they've got, you know, they said they've got it from Ugo IPA. It will partly be based on the New Sweden IPA, I'm sure, as well. And they've just sort of given it a new lease of life, if you like, and it works. It really does work, this beer. So if you get the chance to try this one, I highly recommend that you do. Nothing surprising about the style, but just a really bloody damn good double IPA, this one, and there's nothing wrong with that at all, I have to say. So big thumbs up to Oppigårds Bryggeri for this release. I would like to see them experiment a little bit more with some of the new hops like, you know, Enigma and you know, for example, Styrian Wolf or something crazy like that. Cashmere as well is another one that a lot of people seem to be playing with. So it would be cool to see them you know, experiment with some of the different hops and things, because they've got some really solid malt bases and things for beers. But we'll see how they go. It's a brewery that, as I say, very well established, but they are capable of experimenting a little bit more, and it's always cool to try the new things that they're releasing. In terms of the mouthfeel of this beer then, I would describe this one as mid-bodied. Carbonation's very smooth. This is a beer that really has a good balance between, it's got a little bit of an oily character to the mouthfeel, but it's also got that nice smooth creaminess that you expect of the New England IPAs. A little bit of hoppy bitterness. I would say you're talking in the 30 IBUs region with this one. The malt base, very smooth, quite creamy, but a little bit of sweetness in there as well, and some really lovely juicy fruity qualities to the beer as well. But overall, a very, very solid double IPA, and one that I've really enjoyed reviewing for you here on the channel. So if you get the chance to try this one, I highly recommend that you do. It is a little bit of a shame if this is only going to be a limited edition, right enough. But let's leave it at that for this one. This one is the Botan Double IPA from Oppigårds Bryggeri in Hedemora in Dalarna County here in Sweden. A lovely, lovely beer. Not doing anything surprising with the New England Double IPA style, but just a very, very solid take on the style. So yeah, let's leave it at that. Once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this one in the comments section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Oppigårds Bryggeri as well, and I'm sure I'll catch you soon with more reviews from these guys and other reviews in the future as well. Thanks again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. The Botan Double IPA from Oppigårds Bryggeri in Hedemora in Dalarna County here in Sweden. Slange, skål.